With the Taliban taking control over Afghanistan, many Afghan citizens who fear persecution have sought refuge in India. While the Union government has extended all help possible legally, including the issuance of e-visas, there is a growing demand to expand the scope of the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. While the demand sounds logical from a humanitarian point of view, but there is a fundamental flaw here in understanding the Citizenship Amendment Act. So let's do a revisit. The Citizenship Amendment Act says that people belonging to 6 religions, which is Hinduism, Buddhist, Christian, Sikhs, Parsis and Jains, who have been illegally residing in India without any valid documents can apply for Indian citizenship, but provided they can prove that they faced religious persecution in any of the 3 neighbouring countries of Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh and entered India on or before the 31st of December 2014. The BJP-led union government, which framed and got the law passed, has argued that since Muslims were unlikely to have faced religious persecution in any of these 3 Islamic countries, they were not really covered under this law. So does the Citizenship Amendment Act apply to Afghan refugees? Well, the introduction of Citizenship Amendment Act makes it almost impossible for Afghan refugees to attain citizenship in the near future. Under the new law, the process for getting Indian citizenship would be expedited only for non-Muslims from neighbouring countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Most of the refugees from Afghanistan, however, are Muslims. However, the current Afghan crisis and the confusion over CAA or the Citizenship Amendment Act have given India yet another reason to frame a refugee policy. Yet, India's reaction to every refugee situation has always been guided by political considerations, not by any constitutional policy. While as it is among the few countries that neither has a national refugee protection framework, nor does it have an immigration policy, India is under no obligation, therefore, to provide rights set out in the conventions to refugees. It takes decisions on granting long-term visas to refugees essentially on an ad hoc basis. What about the immigration policy then? In India, refugees from neighbouring countries barring Myanmar seek protection directly from the government and are issued documentation by the Foreigner Regional Registration Offices or the FRROs. Non-neighbouring countries and Myanmar come under the UNHCR mandate that assesses each individual asylum claim and issues an ID card to those recognized as refugees after seeking biometric data for registration. It is followed by a comprehensive interview by the UNHCR officer. The whole process takes anywhere between 6 months to a year. The government currently allows refugees with UNHCR IDs to apply for long-term visa, which they issue on a case-by-case basis. Well, there has always been demand for drafting a refugee policy instead of tackling such crises on an ad hoc basis. Yet, successive governments have shied away from doing so. The humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan has the potential to spiral out of control and the government should remain prepared. It will have serious implications on national security as well. One step to avoid that could be working towards a comprehensive refugee policy.